So it's hard to believe that I'm turning 25, and it is such a blessing that I never thought I'd feel this grateful for, and I had to give God all the praise and all the glory and all the honor for it. But over the past month, there's been something I've been reminiscing about that I felt like as though I wanted to share with you guys, hoping that if there's something that touches you along the way, that you feel inspired and encouraged by this for your lives. So, for those who don't know much about my earlier life, which I don't know how much have I shared on the channel before, I've had a pretty negative view of it. I used to live in Scotland until I was about 5. We spent about 3 years there, I think. And then when we moved back to Trinidad, life felt like as though it just got worse, so to say. When we went into the primary school system, a lot of the people in that first school treated us, or at least treated me, like I was nothing. They made me feel worthless. I felt horrible, and I felt like as though I had to fend for myself. And I mean, yeah, I did switch schools after, but for some reason, I kept that pessimistic view. Then when I would go into high school, I felt like as though I had to keep my head above water, and I didn't know how to react to things. And yes, when I would go and switch schools again, Cooper East wasn't my first school, but when I would switch schools, stuff would get better. But, you know, it's hard to figure out what people would like. At least that's my way of thinking about stuff. I found it very hard to socialize for a bit, and you know, it felt like as though that was stuck with me for a bit. And even in college, trying to battle if I'm actually friends with some people, trying to figure out that stuff, being so confused about it, and then also dealing with epilepsy and anxiety and panic attacks, it was stressful, to say the least. Because I felt like as though every semester I would get about 3 seizures. And it would actually shape some aspect of my later years in college. And then you go even further, and it feels like as though there's negative aspects of your life that got stuck with you. So about a month ago, my family and I would actually go and find some of the videos that we had during our baby years.
Lower the playpen, Papa. Oh, you wanna come out now?
In fact, somebody went, they took the tapes, they digitized it for us, and then we went and we watched some of them. And to see all the positive stuff that we've had as children, like up to about 4 years old, it was very heartwarming for me to see, hey, this was positive, this was fun, this was cool. My parents really loved us. And all that's fun, but certainly it can't just be this. So one night, I'm going into my hard drive, my files that I have for pictures from when we were like 6 all the way up to now. And I'm going through this drive because it's like, I genuinely want to see the good times that I've had with my family growing up. And I want to see if there's anything that could touch me and make me feel good. Now, in my mind, for a moment, it's like these files, they have pictures, but they're kind of like scattered. It wouldn't be until 2013 when we started organizing them properly, etc., etc. But lo and behold, I find this file of a video camera that we got in 2010 during our Disney trip. It was the first time that the family has gone to Disney World. It was me, my sister, my brother. He was about 3 years old at the time, which makes it feel even more heartwarming. And my parents, and it was my uncle as well, because it was, he lived in Florida. And when I look at those videos, and when I look at the clips of that trip, I am seeing a 10-year-old Gabriel who somehow was so, as my mom would say it, outgoing. He was so happy. He was so optimistic. And that puts a smile on my face. It was like, look at this kid. Look at how he is. Mind you, this is the same kid who's in those situations, who's in this bad school system. I don't think that we had gotten the transfer yet. But even if we did, there probably should have been that pessimistic mind view. But look at this kid. So peppy and so outgoing and so goofy and jolly. And it's like, despite being in that bad area of your life, he's still finding ways to be outgoing. This is the same kid who would jump up and yell, "It's the best Christmas ever," for getting the Wii, even though people like his uncle gave him dirty underwear for Christmas. No joke, that happened.
For Wii! You dad! This is the best Christmas ever!
I'm the same kid who had such an amazing relationship with both my parents and my siblings, despite all the mess that was happening around him for the time. And I was the same kid who picked up that video camera, started fiddling around with it, and then eventually decided, when his church was having like video training, to be a part of that video training. No joke, I thought I was 14 when that was going on. Turns out I was 10. Seeing that my passion for videography started at the age of 10, if not earlier, and to see when hashtag vlogs began at the age of 17, and to see that I wanted to do media as my background in 18, to even come to a point now where I actually work for a production company now. No joke. To see all of that in that little kid kind of brings up some questions that I have about myself. And I want you to follow along with me, because I feel like there's somebody who's going to benefit from this. For some reason, this guy, that little kid, would grow up to be this guy who would think that his childhood was not good. He would take all of the negative aspects and focus on that, rather than looking at all of the good stuff that has happened. Like, first of all, I do have to acknowledge 2024 was amazing. It was a convention circuit. That was our big thing for the channel, and I really enjoyed it as a person more than I did as a YouTuber, if you could even call me that. And there have been a few good things in my life, but the fact that I say a few means that I undermine everything that has happened. Because instead of focusing on all that good stuff that I had to go back into videos and watch and find out, to see the jolly little kids who were just so happy, who had such a good relationship with each other, who were like so peppy and perky, and to see them grow into these kinds of people who are questioning a lot about themselves. Like, am I really a good person? Am I really as bad as people say? Did I really have that bad of a childhood growing up that would shape me in certain ways? Like, no joke, real quick, there's a part of us that believe that when at this point it's night seizures. I don't think it was night terrors. It might have most likely been night seizures that was happening when I was 8. We spent a lot of time looking at that and wondering if it was because of our quote-unquote bad childhoods in retrospect. When the reality is that we actually had a great upbringing growing up. So what if there were a few people who didn't like you? Or so what if there were people who were harassing you, making you feel like as though you were inferior? Let me tell you, that hurts so much, but it tells me so much about them as people compared to me as a person. It tells me that there's something going on with them. It tells me that there's something that's hurting them. And if you could, try and ignore it. Because the person that you truly are, the person that you may truly be, shouldn't be dampened by what has been. They shouldn't be dampened by the things that have happened. Honestly, I look at all this and I give God all the thanks for everything that has happened, because honestly, after that one time and after those few times, I look back on my past so much more fondly because of everything. I look back on, let's not focus on that one school that I went to, and let's not focus on the stuff that happened in that high school that I went to. Let's focus on this for a moment. A few of my friends from that other primary school I went to have been on the vlog. A few of my friends from that first high school I actually still do talk with, and in fact, it's kind of good to know that I could get something negative off of my chest and I could like give my formal apology to one of them. It feels great to know that in that other high school, even though, and one of my friends did tell me about this, she wanted me to know about this, that, you know, behind your back they would say stuff. It feels good to know that there's a few of them who I still talk to, and heck, let's lengthen this a bit. There's even some who I didn't meet until after my high school days, and we chat and we're doing good now. Instead of focusing on the negatives that has happened with my college life, like all those seizures, the fact that my mental health put me under great stress during my junior year, despite the fact that, you know, this and that and the other happened. I could focus on the fact that good stuff has happened. I could focus on the facts of the people who I've met and who I still chat with on a regular basis. And I could look at all the good stuff that has happened. And the best part is that when you have an optimistic mindset, when you have a mindset that's focused on thinking about the good things that have happened, it opens up a new level of joy, because when you put away the negative things, then there's just that air of positivity that could flow through you. It also warms my heart to know that I started #vlogs in 2017, and I was able to allow my channel to grow little by little to a point where I'm breaking out and, you know, experimenting with new styles and doing all this and that. But most of all, I could use #vlogs as a vehicle to help me remember that there have been a lot of good stuff that has happened. I've seen my baby years from 0 to 4. I've seen like my childhood aspects from about the age of 10. And then I could also go and look at #vlogs and the clips that we've recorded from there to see that I've had a good life even after high school, even after all these things, to see that the people who I may not talk to anymore, you know, but they may still be in my life, to see that, hey, this happened. And there's a phrase: don't be upset because it's gone. Be happy because it happened. I felt like as well as I go into 25 years, the reason why I want to share this is because this was a lesson that I learned going into 25. And it's that don't focus on the negative stuff that has happened, and don't try and squeeze it in to your understanding of where your life is right now. Don't try to do that. Instead, maybe try to look at the good stuff that has happened and use it as a vehicle to remind you that good stuff is going to continue to happen, and good stuff, you know, has happened. History, another saying, history repeats itself. Good stuff could happen again. And I want to share something with you guys real quick. So this notebook is something that I call the bucket list book. And I'm going to also add a prayer in the back, and I'm going to add prayers in the back of stuff that I know that I want God to help me with. But the reason why I'm sharing this with you guys is because there's a lot of really awesome stuff in this that I hope to accomplish before I die. Because one other thing that I've picked up on is being able to just enjoy the life that you have. Instead of focusing on the negatives, focus on the life that God has given you, and find ways to live your life. And I'll share some of these with you right now. Number 3, get one of my show ideas produced. If you all don't know, I have ideas for shows. I've been working on pitch scripts for them. I've been working on stuff like that. So I really want to get one of those ideas out. Number 6, travel to Japan. I do have an intent on traveling. Traveling has been like my joy to see new places. It's why I'm so glad that we did the convention circuit again last year. Number 12 and number 13, get monetized on YouTube and get 100,000 subs. And I do believe that we could do it before our time. Number 16, revisit Aberdeen, Inverness, and Scotland, where Sydney and I grew up, because we have a lot of things that we love about that place, and I think it's kind of cool to revisit where your childhood has happened. But the one that really has my heart at the end, and I feel like this was the end goal for me, is this one, which is number 1 and number 2, and that's just to have a family of my own one day. And I'm trusting God in all of this. I'm grateful that I'm turning 25. I'm grateful that I'm 25 now. That is a quarter of a century. It goes to show how much of time has passed and how much I've developed as a person, especially when you come to realizations such as this. And it also goes to show evolution, or it goes to show how one person can change. I go and I look back on that outstanding, expressive kid from age 4 and age 10, and I have to tell him thank you for reminding me of how I was before and to allow me to see how growing up has been. Instead of focusing on the bad stuff, you look at the good stuff, and honestly, it makes me even more grateful that I'm home with my family right now, reconnecting with them, regrowing with them. And I do hope that we can grow even more and do stuff even more with them before I go back out and just live my life to continue to live my life. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. It is so awesome to turn 25, and it feels great that I was able to make this video, to be able to share it with you for my 25th birthday. I feel like this is why I like doing these annually. And if you all enjoyed it, then please subscribe to the channel. I feel good about how the channel's been doing recently, and I would love your guys' support. So subscribe to the channel, and notification bell ring would really help us out. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen for my 25th year. Thanks so much for supporting. And if you want, there's like 2 other videos right here. Thanks, guys.